And yes, my title is Scalable ABC for Growing Network Models via Extrapolated and Sampled Market. Can you hear me all right, by the way?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. I would like to start by some few acknowledgements. So I'm going to talk about a paper recently published in Bioanalysis, and it's a work in collaboration with Xixing Chen, Antonietta Mira, and Jukka-Pekka Onela. So it's a work started by Xixing, and I continued it when I started my postdoc. Concerning the framework, so there are many situations where the complexity of the data or the statistical model lead to our incapacity to compute the likelihood of the observed data. And thankfully, ABC is one of the methods to avoid this issue. It has two components that are going to be important in my presentation: the step of data simulation and semi-statistic evaluation. And the problem that I would like to try to solve at least is to use ABC when studying large network data and when the network data is described by what is called a mechanistic network model. So I would like to avoid the computational difficulties when using ABC with this type of data. And to do that, I propose two things. First, the use of extrapolated semi-statistics, and also the use of sample-based summaries rather than census-based. Here is the outline of this presentation. So I will start by talking a little bit about the models that I'm interested in. Then I will briefly talk about the ABC setting. I will describe the methodologies and finish with a simulation study. And if I have enough time, maybe a real data analysis. So let's start. The type of data that I'm interested in are network data. So for those that don't know about them, you have some nodes that represent agents or individuals, and relationships between individuals are represented by edges between the nodes. In the following, my observed data, my observed network is going to be denoted J star, and it will have N0 nodes. So N0 is clearly not 5, but more like thousands of nodes. To describe this type of data, I will use mechanistic network models, which are models to describe the formation of a network. And you can think about them as a set of mechanisms that are going to describe how a new node is connected to the previously existing ones when you add it to the network. And the mechanisms that we are using, most of the time, they have some parameters theta that I will try to estimate. The advantages of these models are that you can basically include any mechanisms that you might think be useful to describe the formation of your network. So it's very flexible, and often these mechanisms are already well understood by specialists. Later on, I will talk a little bit about gene duplication to understand protein-protein interaction networks. So I have my observed data, my observed network, and the model, the mechanistic network model, is describing the formation of the network, starting from a small seed network. I will add some nodes one at a time until I reach the size of my observed data. And unfortunately, the path of the construction of the observed network is unknown. This is why we are facing a problem of likelihood and tractability. Because if I want to compute the likelihood of my observed data, I would need to integrate over all paths of construction that lead to my observed data. And when the network is very large, it's just not feasible. Thankfully, a mechanistic network model is a generative model. It means that given some parameter values, I can easily generate new networks according to my model. So I just start from maybe here just one node. I add the nodes one at a time, and the mechanisms are saying, oh, this new node is connected to the previously existing ones. I do that until I reach the size of my observed data. And having a generative model is exactly what we need for ABC. This is why I would like to study this type of networks and models with ABC. Concerning the ABC setting, so I will focus on a parameter inference problem. So my parameters theta, they have a prior distribution on them. And of course, my goal is to sample approximately from the posterior distribution. This slide is probably not needed, but just in case some people don't know about ABC. So this is the ABC rejection sampling algorithm. And you have a step of where you simulate a parameter value from your prior distribution. Then you generate here a graph from your model. You compute some summary statistics of the simulated data, and you compare observed and simulated data thanks to a distance and a threshold epsilon. So in the end, I will obtain parameter values approximately distributed from the posterior distribution, and the calibration of the threshold, distance, and how to choose the summary statistics is and will be, I think, in this conference widely studied. But it is not going to be the focus of my talk. Here, I would like to tackle some computational difficulties when working with large network data. So first, to apply ABC, we need to simulate networks a lot of times, and we need to do that until I reach the size of my observed data, here N0. So this is the first point that can take a long time. And the second one is the evaluation of the summary statistics. Because depending on which summary statistic you want to evaluate on a network, it will take very different time. For example, the number of triangles, in general, it has this complexity, and this is not one of the first summary statistics that we can compute. So to reduce the computational cost of applying ABC with network data, we propose to use extrapolated summary statistics rather than the true ones, and also to replace the census-based summaries by some sample-based version. Concerning the methodologies, so first, we propose to replace true summary statistic values by extrapolated summary statistics. And sorry. So as I recall, my observed data is the number of nodes in my observed data. And sorry. So usually an ABC algorithm would need to simulate a network up to N0 nodes to match the size of my observed data. So on this graph, I have represented the evolution of the summary statistic values depending on the number of nodes in my mechanistic network model. For example, because I can do that because I'm starting from a small number of nodes, and here I'm just tracking this number of nodes until I reach the size N0. So our proposal is to stop earlier in the construction of the network at a number of nodes ns much smaller than N0. And so we stop earlier in the construction of the network at ns nodes, and we decide to use this portion of the summary statistic curve, if we can call it like that, to fit an extrapolation method and to extrapolate the summary statistic value at N0. So we do not use the true summary statistic value, but we use the extrapolated one on this portion of curve. So that way we will save the simulation time of the network on this part. Our second proposal consists in replacing census-based summaries by sample-based versions. What I call census-based, just the true summary statistic value. So on this network, for example, if I'm interested in the number of triangles, it would be 3. I have one triangle here, and one here. And what we propose to do is to randomly draw a number of nodes n star in my network, and to use the resulting subnetwork to compute the semi-statistic value, or to compute the semi-statistic that would take way too much time on the complete network. In the following, I will possibly couple the extrapolation method that I presented here with the use of the sample-based summary. And the drawback of using a sample-based summary is that, as you can see here, I have tracked again a semi-statistic value depending on the number of nodes, but the shape of the semi-statistic is much more noisy. Oh, and a note is that because we are comparing observed and simulated summary statistics, we also need to apply the sample-based version of the summary on the observed network. Okay, so we can now look at a simulation study. I saw that there is a question about the mechanistic network models. So here I will give an example of how we generate the network. So the model that I am interested in is called the duplication mutation complementation model, or DMC for short. And it has 3 mechanisms, as you can see in its name. And it's supposed to reflect the effect of gene duplication in protein-protein interaction networks. So to describe one step of the network generation process, I have my seed network, or just the network at the previous step, and I will add one node and check how the mechanisms are acting to describe how the new node is connected to the previously existing ones. So the first mechanism that is involved is called the duplication step. So a random node is selected, here's the blue one, and it's duplicated into the green one, as well as the connections that the blue node has with its neighbors. So the green node is identical to the blue node. Then there is a mutation step where for each neighbor of the blue node, so this node and this node, either this edge or this edge is removed with probability QM. So here, this one has been removed. And for the second neighbor, this one has been removed. And finally, there is a complementation step where an edge is possibly created between the duplicated node and the new one with probability QC. Here, it's created. So in this model, we have 2 parameters, QM and QC, and we are using uniform prior distribution on them. The summary statistic that we are using, we are only using 2, the average degree, which is the average number of neighbors that a node has, so over all the nodes, and the number of triangles. Because between these 2 summaries, the number of triangle is the most expensive one, we are going to consider that it's possibly its sample-based version. For the extrapolation, I'm only going to use in this presentation a polynomial least squares fit. And concerning the ABC algorithm, I'm just simulating 10,000 parameters and data, and I'm keeping the 50 best one. So it's just a k-nearest neighborhood algorithm in the end. Okay, the first thing that I want to check is if we have a computational gain, of course, because this is the main motivation of this work. So on this table, for the number of triangles evaluated on the observed network, for different size of observed network N0, so 1, 2, 5, or 10,000, we are comparing the true semi-statistic value, so what is in blue here, and we are comparing it to the sample-based version when we are sampling only 100 nodes. And you can see that when we are working with very large networks, we have a very large gains that can be obtained. These times are in seconds, by the way. Then we also want to check what is the computational gain that we can obtain when evaluating simulated semi-statistic values, evaluating semi-statistics. So here, to obtain, I'm representing here the average time in seconds to obtain one set of semi-statistics on the average degree and the number of triangles. So in blue, standard ABC basically just means that I'm using the true semi-statistic values. I'm not extrapolating anything or sampling anything. And in green, these are the methods that we propose. So least squares ABC means that we are only extrapolating the semi-statistic values. We are not using the sample-based number of triangles. And for these two methods, we are still extrapolating with the least squares method, but we are also replacing the number of triangles, but it's sample-based version. And NS, maybe you don't remember, but it's the number of nodes up to which we simulate the network and after which we extrapolate. So for, again, the same number of observed nodes, you can see that we are satisfied of our results when working with large networks. And now we would like to check that the extrapolation methods are not impacting too negatively the accuracy of the LBC methods. So here, this is my parameter space, QM and QC, for 4 different settings of observed networks. In red is my true parameter value that I would like to recover. And I'm using 200 simulated networks as test data. So I have, in the end, 200 ABC posteriors. And here I'm just looking at the average posterior mean for the standard ABC algorithm and our proposals. You can see that when we are working with small networks, all the methods perform relatively similarly. One thing important to notice is that standard ABC, basically it's the best thing that we can obtain because it doesn't make much sense that by extrapolating, we obtain something closer to the truth than the standard ABC. Anyway, I wanted to say that. And on these graphs, you can see that when we are working with large networks, the method, the ABC posterior that are using the sample-based number of triangles get farther and farther from the truth and the standard ABC method. But when we are only using the census-based number of triangles, you can see that the standard ABC and the least square ABC are very similar. So here, of course, I only checked one parameter value. In our paper, we check different areas of the parameter space, but in this example, it's the worst result that I obtained for when using the sample-based number of triangles. And here, I am representing the standard deviation. The standard deviation of the 200 posteriors. No, the standard deviation of the posterior means and an error measure. So for the two parameters, QM is the first row and QC is the second row, you can see that we have very, like the error that we obtain is very low for the first parameter. This is what we could see in these graphs. And all the errors comes from the second parameter estimation. Basically on these graphs, we want the method 1. We want the methods 2, 3, and 4 to be similar to method 1. So we want the same box plots. And you can see that on the second parameters, the box plots for method 3 and 4, so these ones, are very different from the standard ABC, but the least square ABC is very similar to the standard ABC, so we are satisfied about these results. I would like to finish with a real data analysis. So here we are studying a citation network. So people, it's not an undirected network anymore, it's a directed one. And the nodes are papers or articles that are cited by other papers. The number of nodes is this number. We are using this semi-statistics, the mean variance of the in-degree distribution, and the number of triangles, again, possibly sample-based. I am using this number of nodes in my seed network. So my seed network is basically just a subset of the observed network, but I'm only using papers that were cited before 1960. And I'm simulating networks for 50,000 nodes, after which I'm extrapolating things. So on the price model, I have two parameters, K0 and P. And here you can see the shape of the posterior distributions. So the continuous line is a standard ABC method. You can see that for parameter K0, all our proposals are relatively similar to the standard ABC. And using extrapolations comes at the price of an higher posterior variance, as you can see here. But on the second parameter, so sample-based ABC means that I'm using the sample-based number of triangles only once, and it can be very noisy. So as you can see here, the posterior is basically very similar to a uniform distribution. So this is why we needed on this example, and not the previous one, to average multiple times the sample-based number of triangles, so 10 or 20 times. And you can see that it improves the results. Okay, so to conclude, in this presentation, we propose two strategies to apply ABC for large network models. First, the use of extrapolated semi-statistics and replacing the census-based summaries by a sample-based version. It provides a good balance in terms of computational cost and a small bias sometimes in terms of parameter inference accuracy. And something that I haven't mentioned, but that is very important, is that, of course, all the results are going to be very dependent on the extrapolation method that we are using and the extrapolation quality. In our experiments, we mostly focused on semi-statistics curves, as I've shown you earlier, that are mostly polynomial because it was a simpler case. And some perspectives would be to use this method, but on more complicated semi-statistics, or at least more complicated shapes of semi-statistics. And so if you want more information, go check the paper. We also have some results with where we used Gaussian processes, but in the end, they are very difficult to calibrate. Anyway, thank you very much for your attention, and feel free to ask me any question or to write them in the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Louis. So are there any questions? So I had a question, maybe I'll start. What I didn't understand from your simulated example is that it seemed, but maybe I just misunderstood totally. It seemed that as the size of the network increased, so N0,
yeah,
estimation was getting worse and worse.
Yes, it's the case, yes.
So
because
how come?
Basically, for the extrapolation method, so on this curve, this is the shape of the semi-statistic value that we are tracking when we are building the network. And we propose to step earlier at NS nodes in the network construction. So we only simulate a network with a number of nodes much smaller than N0.
Yeah, but also for the ABC, like if you look at the plot, what I was surprised is that even like the ABC doesn't seem to be doing a better job as N0.
Yeah, I think that it comes from, we are using a standardized Euclidean distance. So we are using a small number of simulated networks to determine the standardization values. So I think that it comes from the fact that the standard deviation values that we are using at a small number of nodes are different from the number of nodes that is when it's much greater, sorry. But yeah, it's a bit surprising. I agree with you. So yeah, my answer is, I think it comes from the standard deviation that we are using in the Euclidean distance.
Louis, student, may I ask just a question about the network model?
Yeah.
Is the problem of the regression when the size of the network growing not a problem, kind of a degenerancy problem when the size augments, or that you basically don't have the same property asymptotically for your network rather than for a fixed size network?
Sorry, I'm not sure that I understand your question. Can you reformulate?
Do I have an example? Like, for example, if you take a kind of ERGM model, exponential random graph model, when you have like a small size network, you have some properties about the summary statistic, like the triangles. But as the size of the network is growing, you lose some properties about the summaries. So I was wondering if there is something similar that could happen here, and that will jeopardize this.
You mean that some semi-statistics are more relevant with a small number of nodes, and they become maybe less relevant when extrapolating?
I don't know if relevant is the word, but maybe in terms of proportion of them or the value of. But that the behavior of the summary statistic won't be the same if you have a small network or if you have like a big network.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if I'm tracking different semi-statistics, I will have different shapes of curves. And there are some cases where the shape of the semi-statistic maybe it will increase and then it will maybe decrease, something like that, and keep stationary at for a very large number of nodes. So yeah, this is one of the difficulties and something that should be tackled in future works. Yeah, because it makes things more difficult for the extrapolation part. Yeah.
And your regression, you do it one direction by one direction, like a summary at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well, we also proposed something based on Gaussian processes where we are not using, like we are constructing the joint space of the semi-statistics, and we are not basing our ABC algorithm on the distance, but on the density of the reconstructed Gaussian distribution. But yeah, on these slides, it's only one semi-statistic at a time.
Okay, thanks. I think I will have more questions, but I'll talk to you later about it.
Yeah, feel free to ask me.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks.
So are there any other questions? There is one question that's written, does doing the regression one summary at a time potentially bias your estimates when there are nonlinear relationships between the summary statistics as the graph grows?
Wait, I would like to see this question. I have no idea. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it might be. I don't have I don't have an answer for that, I have to say.
Okay, so let's thank Luis, everyone.